the IRS agent that we mentioned, this is quite incredible. So he, in terms of like problem solving, he was trying to put his like frame of mind, put his perspective in that of other criminals from the past, like really kind of sophisticated criminals. And so there was a serial killer known as Uncle Sam, and basically this Uncle Sam guy would go to a crime scene. He would commit these murders, right? And he committed them all over the place and never left a trace of anything to do with identity, and no one was ever able to find out. There was no connection between the different types of murders he was committing, I don't think. So what they ended up doing was the people investigating thought, well, if you're kind of halfway through committing this act, you're not really going to go out and pay for extra parking, midway through, after doing it. So they ended up looking at cars that had parking tickets in areas nearby to the crime at the time of the crime, and eventually kind of pinpointing one particular car that just had a couple in, a few of the different places. And they used that as like the trigger to go, well, let's just go check it out. And so basically I think they knocked on the guy's door, who it was, and, ready just to do some questioning. And he opens the door. He's like, took you long enough, or something like that, just in this kind of psychotic manner,
Jeez.
But what it inspired this Gary Alford guy to do the same thing. And what he did is he kind of framed up, when was this first mentioned, on the internet? Because he thought that at some point in time it had to have been mentioned. And what he discovered was this esoteric forum, and found Altoid, the username used on this esoteric forum, right? And this is when you're like, whoa, because he wanted to find the original cases. And we haven't mentioned that there was so many suspects. Like there'd been endless suspects of who would have possibly done this. And particularly people who are not of Ross's kind of character. People that are actually heavily involved in criminal organizations or have outspoken views and are in software for a start, to have done this. And they ended up going on this forum. I think he used his abilities at the IRS to ask for just the data on that particular user, right? And this was data from a couple of years prior. And in that account name, there was a deleted email address which had the name rossulbricht@gmail.com. It wasn't the actual email address, but it was like a deleted email address on this data, which was so happened to still be on the database.
So they knew it was so early that he must be at least a suspect and likely involved.
That's it. But it was very much a case of,
wow.
Anyone could have, or except for seizing the data itself, anyone could have asked those questions to get to that end. And the thing is that I think Ross's name had actually popped up in another one of the departments or agencies, but it was essentially dismissed because they're like, definitely not the profile of our guy, and because they were turning up so many suspects, it was disregarded.